in order to lose fat without feeling hungry or deprived. Pick a better plan or diet. Because here's the reality. Most people, whenever they want to lose weight, they just go cool and they hop on whatever sounds intriguing. You cut a few calories, you go into a small deficit, you lose some weight and you go, oh my gosh, if I cut out 300 calories and I lost this much weight, what if I cut out 1,000 calories? What if I cut out 600 calories? Oh my gosh. Instead of rocking what was working, you literally got greedy around, oh, if I do more, I can get better results. A bigger deficit does not equate to more fat loss. Those are the 7 different ways you can lose fat without feeling hungry or deprived. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Dieting from the Inside Out. If you're new around here, welcome to the show. I'm Jared Hamilton. I am your host. Now, in today's episode, we're going to get into how to lose fat without feeling deprived or hungry. Now, it's interesting because with this concept is most people are shocked when when they're applying for coaching or I'm in DMs with people and I talk about how our clients aren't super hungry all the time and feeling deprived and anything like that. And most people are like, how is that possible? Because unfortunately, because of diet culture, weight loss or dieting or fat loss as a whole is just synonymous with feeling deprived, being crazy hungry, ravenous all the time, insatiable, lots of food noise, always thinking about food or your next meal, and just all that kind of thing. Well, at the end of the day, that's a very old and outdated way of doing it. That's the old era. That's just call it what it is. It's diet culture. Well, the right way to do this, and what we have our clients in Dieting from the Inside Out do, is we take a whole different approach to this. And when I show people like our core pillars, which is what I'm going to get in today with you, is they're pretty shocked. And it's interesting, even when it comes to the implementation of this stuff, like with our clients, usually the question is always, okay, when's this next hack going to drop? Or, okay, it feels a little bit too good to be true right now. Like I'm losing weight and I'm not hungry and I'm not deprived and weight loss is pretty simple and it's boring and it's arguably enjoyable, like all these kind of things. And my response every time is, well, this is just how it's supposed to be. Like, of course, there's nuance to it. And of course, there's hard days. And of course, there's dynamics to this game. But most people have this picture of fat loss that it is this hell and this horrible place. And it doesn't have to be like that. So that's what we're going to talk about today is how to do that, how to lose weight without feeling deprived or hungry. So here's the thing. Let's set some expectations. Because going into a fat loss phase, if you are trying to lose weight and you are in a calorie deficit, a level of hunger is normal though. Now, I say that, and some of you might be going, Jared, that literally goes against everything you just said. No. Let me paint this out a little bit more. A little bit of hunger can be normal, or bouts of hunger can be normal, but by no means should you be feeling ravenous. Should you be feeling insatiable? Should you be having just ridiculous amounts of food noise or feeling deprived or like you can't eat certain foods? That is a whole different story. A little bit of hunger is normal. That's just part of, you are in a calorie deficit. Small bouts of hunger is completely reasonable. But where it gets to an extreme, where you're insatiable, where you cannot stop thinking about food and you're ravenous, that is where I have a problem. Because at the end of the day, this has to be sustainable and it has to be practical with a very busy, very chaotic life that involves travel, work, kids, boardroom meetings, on the go, drive-throughs, the whole works. So that's what we're going to talk about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the exact checkpoints that we use with the ladies inside Dieting from the Inside Out, my coaching program. Because at the end of the day, I don't believe in gatekeeping, and I think you should be able to see what it takes to get there. Now, if you need more attention or help, that's a different story. We could always look into that, but I don't think the information should be gatekept. So I have a few pillars in here, 7 specifically. Now I don't want to make this a forever like marathon long episode. So we'll go through these pretty quickly, but I also don't want to rush this, and I want you to have a complete clear understanding, because here's what you have to understand. When it comes to especially where hunger and deprivation meets things like food noise or mental chatter around food or obsessive thoughts around food all day, you have to understand that if that's something that you struggle with, it's not the actual culprit. It's a sounding alarm of a deeper issue, which is what I'm going to talk about here. Because things like food noise or feeling super deprived or crazy hunger, that is not the actual problem. It's the sounding alarm that something else is going on. My favorite comparison is like your smoke alarm in your house. If it's 3 a.m. and the smoke alarm in your bedroom starts going off, imagine waking up and going, I need to shut you off, and giving zero regard to a fire or smoke in your house. That's not the case though. If you woke up at 3 a.m. with your smoke alarm going off, you would go, oh no, you would go, oh no, smoke is somewhere. Where's the fire at? You wouldn't care that the alarm is going off. You're going to be more concerned that that alarm is alerting me that something else is going on. When you are crazy hungry, when you are deprived, when you have food noise, all this stuff, that is a sounding alarm that, oh no, something else is going on that I'm not seeing. That's what should happen. Because if you fix, just like a smoke alarm, if you fix the fire, the smoke alarm shuts off. So if we fix the culprit behind why your hunger is crazy high, or why you're feeling deprived, or why you have food noise, well, then all of a sudden those things start to shut off. And then you can go on your happy, merry way. Hopefully this is making sense, but let's dive in. Number one, because again, we're going to get into the checkpoints on what I teach with actual people just like you who are really busy, who are usually over the age of 30, who are struggling. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you here. So number one, if you're feeling hunger or deprived or wanting to go through this journey without that, number one, keep calories as high as possible. Most people are shocked to hear that some of the calorie numbers that our clients inside Dieting from the Inside Out get prescribed, because it's so much more than what most people think. To be honest, most people that I talk to, most women specifically, they think they're supposed to eat 1,000 calories a day, 1,200 calories a day. Well, that's what the doctor said. Well, that's what Dr. Oz said. Well, according to the TDEE calculator online or MyFitnessPal, it's 1,300 calories. But then when we have clients who are eating literally like 2,000 calories, 2,200 calories, 2,500 calories, 1,800 calories, and losing weight, most people are just, it's just kind of a shock, and as it's okay. And that's because what diet culture has kind of conditioned you in. So that's why step number one is we have to keep calories as high as possible. I mean, no wonder if you're eating 1,200 calories and can't eat your favorite foods, you're going to feel hungry and deprived. Well, just increasing your budget, raising your calories, actually specifically what I have our clients do is we test their upper limit. What I mean by that is whenever someone joins Dieting from the Inside Out, we're not ready for a fat loss phase yet. That's stage 2. Stage 1 is called Dieting from the Inside Out, where we fix all their inner game issues, like the food noise, the relationship with food, consistency, their binge eating, their self-sabotage. We fix all that first before we even go into a fat loss phase. It's just our cornerstone blueprint, if you will, that works like clockwork. Now, while we are in that, though, part of that is finding their upper limit. And most people are jaw-dropped to find that they can eat more than 1,200 fucking calories. Most people are also jaw-dropped to find out that like they have more days where they're not 1,200 calories than are 1,200 calories either. So we fix all of this. But this is why step number one to losing weight without feeling hungry or deprived is literally eat more. I mean, it's the most biological part to this. Now you may be thinking, well, Jared, no, I have to eat less to lose weight. Yeah, I'm with you on that. You have to be in a calorie deficit, but that doesn't mean, and I'm going to get to this further on my talk, that doesn't mean you need to be in a huge one. But there's also reasons why most people feel like they have to be in a super low calorie deficit, or they're not even thinking about maximizing. When I chat with most people about this, they say, Jared, what's the least amount of calories I can eat to lose weight? And I go, just the premise of that question is wrong. You're trying out the gate to see how low you can take your calories, or you've been living in a fat loss phase for so long that your metabolism has slowed down. So you're not able to eat as much, or you don't think you can eat as much, or let's just say it, you're scared to eat more. You're afraid to, if I eat over 1,200 calories, I'll gain weight. Or you believe every scale fluctuation, that every time the scale goes up, you're like, oh, I must be eating too many calories, and you drop it. Whereas that couldn't be further from the truth. You're probably retaining 5 to 10 pounds of water from whatever you had the past few days going out to eat. And you think that that's body fat, so you need to keep your calories low. I see so many people who misunderstand the scale and they let that affect their calorie intake. We have plenty of women. I literally just did a post about this on my Instagram whose scales have stayed the same while they have transformed their entire bodies, because the scale is one metric and we have to look at it with intelligence and in context. So this is why, for whatever reason, you're dropping your calories too low. You either don't think you can eat as much as you can, you are scared to eat more, or whatever reason there may be. You're taking the scale out of context, so you keep dropping calories. I don't care. Someone else that has results like you eats 1,000 calories a day, so you think you have to eat 1,000 calories a day. Regardless, the first thing you need to do is keep calories as high as possible, even while in a fat loss phase. Test your upper limit specifically. One of the most strategic things we have our clients do is we have them test their upper limit, and it's uncomfortable. But that's part of this. You want to become free around food? You want to have a great relationship with food? You can't be eating like a toddler. You can't be stuck to this 1,200 calorie rule but then somehow think you're going to get free around food. It doesn't work like that. We have to align actions with ambition. If your ambition is I want to be free around food and have peaceful fat loss that lasts forever, cool. We got to do that shit, which includes raising your calories. I know it's uncomfortable, but that's the only way out of this. Okay. So that's number one. Like quite literally test your upper limit, test how high you can get your calories. Okay. Number two, for losing fat without feeling hungry or deprived. This one's a little bit more surface level. Center everything around protein and eat enough of it. Ironically, when most people say, Jared, I am always hungry while dieting, they have just shit protein levels. Their protein intake is so low, or they are not centering their meals around protein. Now, here's the double-edged sword. I also am not of the camp where I think everything has to have protein in it. I think you need to I think most people should hit a protein number, whether you're counting it or not. I think everyone should hit like certain metrics in terms of their protein. But I also don't believe you have to put protein in every freaking thing. Protein chips, protein pizza, protein, protein desserts, protein chocolate. Like I don't get into that. Like there's a couple of those products that I'm like, that actually tastes really good. But across the board, I like to get regular ice cream, not high protein ice cream. I would rather get a candy bar if I'm craving candy than a protein bar, unless I want a protein bar. But if I'm craving a Reese cup or if I'm craving a Reese's Fast Break, it's the greatest candy bar known to man. I am going to go buy a Reese's Fast Break, not a peanut butter cup Quest bar, right? That's just how I am. And that's how especially the way that we teach, because again, if you like those things, cool, more power to you. But most people will actually inherently, and we're going to get into this more, deprive themselves with that. They go, oh, I really want a candy bar. They're craving chocolate. So instead of going and getting a 300 calorie Snickers bar, they go get a Quest bar or they go get a protein bar that tastes like ass. And then because they're like, no, I can't have that. I need protein. Or, candy bars are bad. So they go get a protein bar. And then they're still not satisfied. So then later they end up getting that protein bar, or they end up getting that candy bar anyway. But then they ate the protein bar and added more calories and may have thrown in a few other things trying to satisfy this. Whereas if you just had the candy bar and stopped there, problem would have been solved. Again, we'll get into this more. But at the end of the day, this number two is center everything around protein and be eating enough of it. Protein is one of the most satiating things you can consume in the fat loss phase to make sure you are not feeling hungry all the time, and to make every level of your journey or make align every piece of this for you so it benefits your goals from a protein standpoint by itself. So what I mean by that is that's because that was kind of a word salad, wasn't it? What I mean by that is protein helps in every way, shape, and form around your goals. The more protein you eat, the more muscle you're going to build. You're not going to get big and bulky, but it's going to build lean muscle tissue. So that way the muscle tone that you want, it requires muscle, and everything in your body, including muscles, are made up of protein, but also your hair, skin, nails, literally organs, eyelids, everything is made up of protein. So it's not like that's the only thing for it, but you need it as a whole. Especially if you like to have clear skin, if you like to have like thick, luscious hair, if you like to have strong fingernails, like eat your protein. I see so many people, side tangent. I see so many people, like, to be honest, women who they're so quick to go buy like all the biotin, nail supplements, collagen, skin creams, special hair stuff. But meanwhile, their protein intake is like 50 grams a day. Well, when all those things are made up of protein, if you just had enough protein, you would be shocked at how little of those extras that you need. It's kind of missing the cart before the horse. Like, why don't we just like get enough calories as a whole and enough protein, and you will be blown away at how much all the extra stuff you don't have to have anymore. So anyway, that's a little side quest. But again, if you're feeling deprived and hungry on your weight loss journey, you need to center everything around protein. Otherwise, you just may find like you're full for like an hour or 30 minutes, but then you're going to be hungry again. But when you have a good protein intake, when I say a good protein intake, I'm meaning, again, this is a very broad because I don't know you specifically. Generally speaking, 0.5 gram to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now, there's so many factors that go into that, but a rough estimate, somewhere around 0.5 gram to 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 300 pounds, I'm not saying to go get 300 grams of protein. I'm saying that 150 grams may be a good number for you, because there's a bunch of protein formulas, but this is one that I find calms people down and gets them in the right direction. Whatever is sustainable for you in this moment, somewhere around 0.5 gram to 1 gram. Now for you, or per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 175 pounds, what's half of 175? What's that? well, okay, I can't do math in my head. 175 divided by 2. So yeah, that's what, around 87 and a half. So let's just say 80, 87 to 175, right around in there to start with, because that's just what needs to happen to get you off the ground. Now, the other thing is this: don't jump this up too much out the gate. If you're eating 50 grams, don't go to 150. That's going to be a problem. But what I want you to start with is, if you're eating 50 grams a day, just slowly increase it to 60. Do that for a few weeks. Just then slowly increase it to 70, slowly increase it to 80. All you're doing is slowly titrating it or increasing it over time. But you'll notice as you do that, you will recover better. You will see more progress in the mirror, and you will not be nearly as hungry because you're eating one of the most satiating things you can for your goals. So that's number 2. Number 3, we're going back down again. You'll see some of these were like this kind of a deep answer, shallow answer, deep answer. Like we're kind of going in and out of this. So number 3, when it comes to losing fat without feeling hungry or deprived, is fix your relationship with food so you stop depriving yourself. If you notice, half of this list, or on all of it, to be honest, we're just stopping the stuff that makes you feel deprived and hungry. Well, if you think about why you feel hungry, I eat 1,200 calories a day. Cool. Maximize your calories. Well, I feel deprived because I have a bad relationship with food and get Oreos out of the house, and I really want Oreos. Well, then let's fix your relationship with food so you can eat Oreos in moderation. So all we're doing is finding the things that make you feel deprived and hungry and just like coming out of it. So, but one of the most low-hanging fruits, tactical things you can do, and it's also one of the first things that we do in my program, is we fix the relationship with food and stop the deprivation. If you deprive yourself of the foods that you love because you're losing weight, you are asking for hunger and asking for more deprivation. But the problem is most people are in a really sticky spot right here. They go, well, Jared, I'm trying to lose weight, and once I start, I can't stop. Or I can't have one Oreo without smashing the whole sleeve of Oreos. Or I can't have a little bit of chips without having all the chips. Exactly. And if that's the case, you're not ready to lose weight yet. I'm sorry. This is why I always say you have to diet from the inside out first before we diet for real. It's the whole concept behind my message of dieting from the inside out. It's also why we don't lose weight in my program until stage 2, which is called boring fat loss, because that's how fat loss is supposed to be. But if you are in that camp of saying, well, Jared, I have to get rid of everything because I can't have it. It's easier to have it out of the house and not even think about it than to try to manage eating it. Well, then that is a very short-term fix to a long-term problem. Because I don't know if you've noticed it, but life isn't very in a container of a vacuum. You have birthday parties, you have get-togethers, you have pitch-ins, you have travel, you have friends, you have family, you have date night, you have a social life, you have so many things that all these foods that you struggle with are intermingled with and mixed in and involved with. So if your only strategy is get it out of the house or I avoid it until I can't take it anymore, you're literally like causing the problem. Your plan is inherently setting you up for failure. This is why my approach is, well, we pause that and we go, let's just face this bull by the horns and let's fix the relationship with food. Let's just get this out of the way as a whole. And from that moment on, weight loss becomes so much easier because you don't have all this mental baggage around food. Because of course, if you feel like you cannot have Oreos in your house without an internal demon taking over and you raiding your pantry uncontrollably, yeah, I would feel deprived too. It makes total sense. But also that tells me you're not ready to be in a fat loss phase yet because that's waiting for you. Think about it. What cool. Yeah. You lose 30 pounds in the next whatever year. Awesome. But, or let's that's even too big of a thing. Let's say, cool. Let's say you lose 5 or 6 pounds over the next couple months. Cool. But how is that going to feel whenever you have a weak moment or you go out to dinner or the husband brings something home or whatever? You have your kid's birthday party, you go to Christmas, all these situations, and then you just relapse or you just fall and everything spirals. Well, that's going to make it really problematic because you're just going to undo everything. This is why most people I talk to, they can't even make it a week because there's this cool thing called the weekend every single week where you have date night, where you have time to relax from your busy work week, where you have kids stuff, where you're traveling, you're doing stuff, which all involve food. So if you have a poor relationship with food, you binge eat, you emotionally eat, you subconsciously sabotage, you say stuff like, once I start, I cannot stop. If you feel uncontrolled around food, you have so much food noise because all you're doing is thinking about the foods on this list in your head that you're not allowed to have, you're never going to make it, I'm sorry, until that is healed. It's why it's the very first thing in my entire program. And here's the thing, this actually upsets a lot of people. This is why my program is not for everyone. I've had people come in, they're like, wait, you're not going to let me lose weight yet? I go, no, because we have all these issues we have to fix first. And if you're coming to me for lifelong results that never leave, where you can go enjoy your time with your friends, family, and favorite food and never struggle ever again, this is the only way I know how to do it. And it's the right way. So, and then I have some people who go, well, sorry, I want to lose weight now. Bye. And then they bounce. That's okay though. We're not for everybody. I only want to work with people who want real results that last forever, who are going to give a plan the time and respect it deserves, including the order of operations. This is why we have to fix this first. Just like if you're building a house, the low-hanging fruit is the foundation. At the foundation, nothing about else matters if it's not there and fixed and perfect, because everything else will crumble. Your stuff here is no different. If you don't fix your internal world, your relationship with food, your emotional regulation, your unconscious patterns, just the tip of the iceberg, the stuff above the ground, fat loss, the scale dropping, clothes fitting, loving the way you look and feel, all that stuff, it's never going to happen because it's all on the foundation of this stuff. Because yeah, food is fuel. That's one of the many, many facets food has, or the hat it wears. But it's also how we celebrate, how we experience life, how we fellowship with others, how we connect with our friends and family, how we do anything. So if you want to have if you want to have an amazing life full of memories and experiences and all that, well, you're going to have a great relationship with food there. And if you want to lose weight, you got to eat less of that food. Well, you have to have both these worlds come together. The problem is most people segment these worlds and then they wonder why they never have results, because the results you're wanting are in the intersection of these worlds, like on a Venn diagram. So number 3 for not being hungry and deprived while dieting is fix your relationship with food so you stop depriving yourself. This way, as soon as a craving comes up, you can honor it and go have the candy bar and not even think twice about it. And you're back and literally the craving's gone. That's what happens with the women in our program. They're literally blown away at the frameworks that we use, because I have some really, really deep frameworks we use inside the program to make this happen. That way, it makes it all simple and sustainable and doable versus, I know the concept of this sounds really wild, but it's crazy how peaceful your life gets when you don't feel like an animal around food anymore. So next, number 4 for losing weight without feeling hungry or deprived is periodize your deficit. So one of the things, I know I keep referring to the program, but it's because that's just the object lesson I teach with. Like, I'm not just telling you one thing, but then I'm doing something different for our clients. I'm literally giving you the playbook. Okay. So periodizing your deficit. What I mean by this is you should not be in a calorie deficit all year round. I know you have a lot of weight to lose. I know you don't love the way you look or feel right now. And I respect that, but that doesn't mean we can make, just for maybe a lack of a better term, ignorant decisions because of that place of desperation. What I mean by that is most people have, let's say 30 pounds to lose, 40 pounds to lose, whatever. And then they try to be in a calorie deficit consistently till all the weight's coming off. Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but weight loss is a slow process, and doing it the right way is a slower process. So that means you're going to be at least being consistent for in the next year and a half-ish, just say 2 years to make it safe. Well, that means you're going to be in a deficit that entire time. Well, of course you're going to be hungry. Of course you're going to be deprived. This is why part of this game is periodizing your deficit. And that's just like nutrition coach talk for going in it, coming out of it, going in it, coming out of it, going in it, coming out of it. What I mean is, this is why for our clients, we'll have them be in their deficit for a certain period of time. And then we will have them come out of that deficit and they're eating more maintenance, which means they are not in a deficit. This way gives their metabolism time to kind of adjust back, so that way it doesn't keep going on what I call a race to the bottom, where you lose weight, drop your calories, lose weight, drop your calories. Then before you know it, you're at 1,000 calories a day. This way they lose weight, and right around the time they would start to plateau or their metabolism might start to slow down, we'll just increase their calories back up to their maintenance. We'll rock that for a while and then we'll do it again. So instead of doing this little stair step of lose weight, drop calories, and then start to plateau, then drop them again and drop them again, we're doing this. We're dropping them, and as they start to plateau, we raise them. And then all of a sudden their metabolism, let's say we'll call it upregulates instead of this downregulation thing. It upregulates, they get a break, it's more sustainable, you have more food, all the things like that, and it helps you also psychologically. Because if you're living in a deficit for like a year, year and a half, 2 years at a time, you're going to feel like trash, your energy is going to go through the toilet, you're going to lose muscle tissue, and you're going to have a almost fear response when you come out of that, because you've been living in a deficit. So not living in a deficit is going to feel scary, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to gain a bunch of weight, which isn't the truth, but your body doesn't know a difference because of what it's been. It's just like the analogy I use a lot. It's like if you cross your arms right over left feels normal, or whatever, however you cross your arms, cross them the other way, it feels really funny because you're just not used to it. So you don't do it. So this is why one of the greatest ways to fix all of this is just periodize your deficit. Go in and out of it appropriately. Now, everyone's different how we do this and things like that. There's a lot of factors, but that is one of the biggest pieces. Okay. Number 5, in order to lose fat without feeling hungry or deprived, pick a better plan or diet. Because here's the reality. Most people, whenever they want to lose weight, they just go cool and they hop on whatever sounds intriguing. Weight Watchers, Keto, Optavia, Noom, Adkins, or here's the most dangerous one. What you did before. Well, I lost weight before on insert diet here, so I'm just going to go back to it. That's the most dangerous thing ever because it didn't work. So you're programming your brain to go back to what didn't work. Well, it got me results for a little bit. Yeah. But then if you lost them, I call that not results. I'm sorry. That may sound a little harsh, but think of it this way. Would you move into a house that let me rephrase this. If you moved into your house and you only knew it was going to last for like 3 months and then it was going to crumble. And let's say you and your family got out of it and crumbled. Would you consider that a successful home build? Of course not. But if the home builder's like, no, well, it worked for like 3 months or like a year. You're like, yeah, but then it crumbled and I had to go find a new home. You wouldn't consider that a success. It's no different here. If your diet only works for a period of time and then you are looking forward to going back to normal, huge red flags. That means that diet doesn't work. It means it doesn't work for you. Because if it works for a period of time and then it quits working or you bounce because you can't take it anymore, it didn't work. But the problem is you've convinced yourself, oh no, it did work. Weight Watchers did work, even though I hurt my relationship with food and I stopped doing it and I gained all my weight back. And you keep going back to it. It's like going back to a cheating ex-boyfriend, even though you know he's going to keep doing the same behavior. It's no different. So this is why you need to pick a better diet or pick a better plan to follow. Here's the hard truth though. It's not going to be found with its own name. I'm very bullish on this. Are there maybe a couple people out there who had success with these trendy brand name diets for the rest of their life? Yeah, probably. I don't want to speak too indefinitely in too much of indefinites. But for the vast majority of people, and for context, I've been coaching people for almost 15 years and like over 1,000 women. So from what I've observed, and there's a reason I've never given someone a diet with their own name. I could not fathom telling a client, just follow keto, just follow Weight Watchers, just do fasting, just follow the Atkins diet, just follow Mediterranean, just do the Brat diet, just do the whatever. I could not imagine that. I couldn't sleep at night because I know they would fail. So I'm not going to recommend you to do that, especially if you clicked on a podcast called Dieting from the Inside Out and chose the episode that's titled How to Lose Fat Without Feeling Deprived or Hungry. I can say with pretty crazy amounts of certainty, you should not do a diet with its own name and you're not going to find what you're looking for there. Because you have to understand your diet should be based on sound principles that work with you and your life that you could do, you ready for this, for the rest of your life. Are you going to be in a fat loss phase forever? Absolutely not. But let's hypothetically say that you would. Could you do it? If the diet you're choosing to follow, you could not do it for, let's say, the next decade or the rest of your life, then you shouldn't be doing it. Again, I'm not saying you're going to be in a fat loss phase forever. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is if you had to be, because here's the reality, once you get to where you're going, you have to have the same principles to keep those results. This is the problem where people do something trendy, quick fixy, whatever, and then they just go back to normal, but your normal's the problem. This is why we have to fix your baseline where you can enjoy your life, reach your goals, and have it all come together. Okay? So half the reason, again, if you're feeling hungry or deprived is because you're picking diets that are setting you up for failure. And if they have their own name, that's half the problem. Number 6, home stretch, friends. Number 6 to losing weight without feeling hungry or deprived is small deficits only. I love you so much and I appreciate you being here, but I'm going to say something that may upset a lot of you. You're results greedy, and that's the problem. What I mean by that is you cut a few calories, you go into a small deficit, you lose some weight, and you go, oh my gosh, if I cut out 300 calories and I lost this much weight, what if I cut out 1,000 calories? What if I cut out 600 calories? Oh my gosh, you got results greedy. Instead of rocking what was working, you literally got greedy around, if I do more, I can get better results. The way I compare this to clients is imagine you have a money machine that could legally print you a $100 bill every day. $100 bill every day. Again, let's say it's legal. Let's say whatever, you somehow had a thing. Here's a money machine that prints you on a $100 bill every day. Not bad. $700 a week. And you're enjoying that. But then you look on the back and there's like a switch that says, there's like a knob to increase it. And you go, bet You increase it, it breaks. And you go, oh, because you got greedy. You're like, oh, if I can do this, I should do this. And let's say it broke. Kind of wish you could go back to your $100 bill a day, but now you get nothing, right? It's the same thing here. I see so many people get greedy around their results and they end up sabotaging everything because you do a couple habits that are going in the right direction and all of a sudden you start to feel better. Instead of rocking that till it quits working, they go, oh, I'm going to do this and add this and add this because I want results faster. And then they end up falling off. And then they end up thinking because they fell off, they're like, I'm just going to go back to what used to work. Or oh, I need to go harder. And I must be broken. I need to add more stuff. And they welcome to the diet hamster wheel. This is why doing it the right way is going to feel really weird. Whenever I'm working with ladies inside dieting from the inside out, they literally go like, Jared, I feel like I should be doing more. I feel like I should be eating less. I go, no, because this is sustainable. This is how we do it. Meanwhile, they're getting the fastest, best, and most sustainable results they've ever gotten. So small deficits only. A bigger deficit does not equate to more fat loss. A bigger deficit equates to higher fall off. The analogy I like to give is, let's say you had a recipe to bake a cake at 400 degrees for 40 minutes. That's the magic recipe. Could you ramp the heat to 800 degrees for 20 minutes? On paper, it should work. 400 degrees, 40 minutes, 800 degrees, 20 minutes, done. But if you know anything about an oven or cooking, it wouldn't work. You would burn the fuck out of it and the middle would still be gooey. Well, or raw, if anything. But it's because there's more nuance to it. Don't get in such a linear line of thinking with this. It's because I can see why most people would struggle with this. Because if you think of your job, if you work so many hours and get paid this much, or you, let's say you're a salesperson, you get this much commission based on everything you sell. Well, if you just change this side of the fence, this side automatically goes up. More hours, more pay. More overtime, more pay. More closing, more pay. But your body doesn't work like that. You have so many intricacies, and we're working with and against psychology and patterns and childhood stuff, all these different things. So this is why a bigger deficit does not equate instantly to more fat loss. Even if it did, it equates to higher fall off because then you have all the repercussions on the other side of that. So hopefully this is making sense. And then lastly, in order to, number 7, lose fat without feeling hungry or deprived, you need to put your lifestyle in your plan. One of the reasons so many people struggle with feeling really hungry and really deprived is because you are dieting, you cut out everything that you love. Whether it be the foods that you love, like, oh, I quit going out to eat, or I quit eating sugar, or I quit alcohol, or whatever. Well, now you're feeling deprived. But if you've caught yourself, your friends are like, hey, come out with us, or hey, come on this vacation, let's travel, let's do this. And you're like, no, I'll just stay home because I'm dieting. No, I don't know how many calories are in that, so I'm just gonna like not go. Or, you know what, honey, let's not go out tonight. Let's not go on a date night tonight because I need to be good. You're literally the one depriving yourself. This is why any good coach is going to help you put your plan. They're going to help you put your lifestyle into your plan. With our clients, we don't want them shutting down what they do. We're going to show them how to take the lifestyle that they love and make it work in this. Make all the things that we teach, the frameworks, the nutrition, the inner work, the training, all the pieces work in that lifestyle. Because if you have to give up everything that you love and value, then you're taking time bomb to quitting. Like with our clients, I don't want you having to give up family dinner. Especially if that's like a value of yours. We're like, oh no, I can't have family dinner because I have to make mommy's food and then everyone else's food. No, we're going to show you how to eat everybody's food. Or let's say you travel a lot for whether work or pleasure. I don't want you to stop traveling. I want to show you the frameworks, how to be successful while traveling. If you go on date night every couple times a week, I want to show you how to go stay on track with wherever you go out to eat, the alcohol you drink, the things that you do, so you don't have to give up date night. So this improves it. I just heard back from a client of mine where they just got back from a big vacation, big family vacation. And they said, Jared, I've never been more present before with my family, with my kids, with my spouse. I didn't even think about food once. I wasn't worried about anything that was going on. I wasn't worried about progress. It was the most present I've ever been on a vacation. That's so much more than fat loss. But imagine if this individual was like, no, and I have to count calories and I have to do this and I have to do this and blah, 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 blah. And they were more worried about the calories in their egg sandwich for breakfast than they were with their kids. This is what I'm talking about. You need to put your lifestyle inside your plan. That way you don't segment them. So otherwise you're going to feel hungry and deprived because you're giving up all the things that you value. My favorite thing to do is find out what my clients value. And then I want to know how we can amplify it with the plan. So, and there you have it. Those are the 7 different ways you can lose fat without feeling hungry or deprived. Now, if you're like, Jared, but I still struggle, it makes sense, but I still struggle with like food noise and I struggle with a lot of that stuff. Well, I have a free guide for you. So especially if you struggle with like mental chatter around food, if you can't quit thinking about food, you're always running to food when you're stressed or anxious or emotional or tired or even bored. Well, I have something for you. There is a guide below in the description of this video called The Food Noise Solution. And I walk you through step by step how to stop the mental and emotional food noise and stop running to food whenever you're feeling stressed or emotional. So this way, weight loss is 10 times easier without being more deprived or restricted or feeling hungry all the time. I'll leave a link down there below for you for that. And I know it will make a big difference for you. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here and tuning in to another episode of the show. And we'll talk to you next week.